What was your first Merseyside derby?
First Merseyside derby I can remember was a 1-0 victory at Goodison Park. I think it was at the end of the 84-85 season. I think it might have been played on like a Thursday or a Friday night. We won 1-0 anyway. Paul Wilkinson scored the goal. There was a lot of fixture congestion because obviously we had a lot of games winning the league and the European Cup and his cup and things. So yeah, it was a bit of a Nottingham derby and we won 1-0. Yeah.
I can't remember the year actually, but it was the one where Robbie Fowler did the infamous, well, as you already call it, the eating the grass celebration. So yeah, he scored a goal and in front of the Evertonians, got down on his haunches, and the stripe of the white line was there, and he made the celebration. Steve McManaman panicked and grabbed him and tried to drag him away. That was, yeah, I remember that because it was there was an old fella sat next to me, and he's like, "What's he doing?" I was like, "He's sniffing the white line! Oh, Robbie! It was one of those. His actual genius on the pitch was immense, but what Robbie Fowler's all about, the hilarity of giving it back by doing that. Oh, come on, you must see the comedy in it. Do you not still to this day?
I don't see comedy in drug use.
Biggest derby hero?
Duncan Ferguson, without doubt. Duncan Ferguson.
Duncan Disorderly?
He absolutely struck fear in all Reds. They can't even hide away from it. I remember his first derby game. I remember Neil Ruddock, the enforcer. He went through the back of him, and Ferguson just jumped up and looked at him and to say, you're going to have to get up early in the day, lads, you're going to do that to me. Never went missing, was always up for a fight, always took on Liverpool's biggest men, whether it be Ruddock, whether it be Paul Ince, he always took them on. No, never went hiding in a derby. You can't say that for many players.
Yeah, in for a week and out for a month.
It doesn't matter, he was always there for a derby though. He was always there for a derby.
Yeah, no.
Yours?
It's got to be Robbie Fowler. Again, it was that era, and again, it was probably similar to Ped, being a young lad and looking up to someone, and look, it tells you everything you need to know the difference between Liverpool and Everton in the 90s, that they looked up to a tall Scottish thug with limited footballing ability, and we looked up to a fellow we called God because he did special things. You know, Robbie Fowler, he was an absolute goal machine, and it goes back to it. You know, he scored those goals. We'd had a barren run against these for years in the derbies, and we'd gotten used to losing them, and then Robbie Fowler crops up and sticks it and turns it around. And for me, being a young lad, growing up and having a lot of Evertonian mates, that was me. It was the first time in years I was able to phone them up and go, down the phone.
Yeah, fair enough.
Best derby win?
Best derby win for me was Duncan Ferguson's first derby. It was 2-0 victory at Goodison Park. It was Joe Royle's first game as the manager of Everton. We were absolutely horrible under Mike Walker. Joe Royle came in. He installed the Dogs of War just in them. He basically what Joe Royle did is basically what Klopp's doing now. He took an awful football team, he galvanised them. He took 2 or 3 individual players who were really, really good and said to everyone else, work your bollocks off, and those special players will make things happen. And that's what he did. And in the first game, we were up against it. Everyone probably thought we were going to get beaten. I think it was a Monday night footy game in November. First cross comes in, David James completely misses it. Duncan knocks it into the back of the net, 1-0. Ruddock tries to have him off, no chance. Daniel Amakachi's on the pitch. He goes off. Paul Rideout comes in, scores the second. It's a 2-0 victory. That got the Joe Royle experience going. Experience going. We end up winning the FA Cup, last trophy we won. And also that got like us going in a few derbies. Then we didn't get. I don't think we got beat for a long time. It took a while for Liverpool to get the derbies back.
Just recently, there's been loads. Just when you think Everton are probably due a good one against us, we just keep turning the screw. Go back to FA Cup semi-final a few years ago. Again, Everton take the lead, and you know we've come all this way. A proper finals looming. Everton trophy baron, and I think a lot of them felt it was the best chance. They go a goal up, and even us thinking, you know, I think we had Brad Jones in goal that day, so it wasn't really the ideal for us. And then this stand decided to just give the ball to Luis Suarez. He slotted it the way Suarez does, and then Andy Carroll, and it's literally the only thing you'll be remembered for, apart from having a crap ponytail. You know.
Worst defeat.
That game, because that was the worst Liverpool team I've ever seen in my life. They were up. They were just awful. We turned up. We should have battered them. We played Magai Gay, who was basically like a second division football. Moyes started him, and we had Yelovich in form. He scored the opening goal. And we were just all over them. Came out second half, and he made a couple of changes. I think he might have taken Kale off, who does that in a derby. And as you say, distant on the back pass when we were just controlling the game. Suarez scored, and you just felt all the energy drop out of our end. You knew what was going to happen. He made no changes that would like help us go on and win the game. Last minute, Seamus Coleman just kicked someone up in the air on the edge of the box, and you just knew what was coming. Box comes into the box, Carroll scores, and I just got out of my seat, walked down to the underground bit of Wembley, and just said to myself, David Moyes will never win a trophy at Everton, ever. I'll never get lower than that. Walking out to Wembley when we should have beaten Liverpool without any issues, we were just battering them, and we threw it all away for nothing.
Your worst one?
Yeah. FA Cup replay, the Dan Gosling final or whatever.
Tic-tac game.
So yeah, a lot of people remember it for being the game where Dan Gosling scored, and it was at ITV who had the coverage, but half of the people who saw it didn't see it. They didn't show the goal for whatever reason. It went off, and I remember it because it's the only derby I've not watched live in probably me life. It was my anniversary with me missus, and I'd long since promised this, and we had a meal booked or whatever. We were in town, so I had a media blackout, turned my phone off, had the game recorded, and I was going home to watch it as live, which is the worst thing you can do in football ever. So I had no idea what the score was, and I had to sit through the worst 90 minutes ever, and it goes to extra time. And fucking Dan Gosling crops up with this scabby goal to knock us out.
Crossed by Andy van der Meijden.
Oh, God. And it was just like one, and I was like, I've just sat through. And if I'd just done what any, I suppose, normal human being would have done, would have checked the result, I'd have been fine, but I didn't. I decided to sit through and watch it, and I was punished for the lack of dedication. And Dan Gosling.
Is the derby Everton's biggest game?
Yeah, I suppose it is in many ways.
What ways is it not?
When there's cup finals, but they don't happen very often, and when they do, they're normally around you. So yeah, of course, I would think most clubs' biggest games are in derbies. It just depends who your derby's against. Liverpool would say their derby against Manchester United, so it's not the biggest game. So
it's not our derby.
Well, you make it out to be. So you make it out to be your big thing.
No, I wouldn't say it's our derby. It's not a derby. In fact, I can't stand
rivalry then.
Rivalry.
It's your biggest rivalry. And Liverpool's our biggest rivalry, so therefore it's our biggest game. That's the way it is with everybody.
You can ignore Manx. Basically, you don't have to see Man United fans. I don't live in London, so I don't see many of them. So you don't get to bump into them on a daily basis, but, I see him fairly often, and you live around Evertonians, they're all over the place. You can't escape them when you live in Liverpool. So from that perspective, it's horrible. That's why it's the biggest in that perspective. But I think in terms of the rivalry, I don't know. It's Man United in so much as I hate losing to them because we do lose to them. Whereas I think if we lost more games to Everton, I'd probably feel that way. But we've been blessed, I guess, in the last 10, 15 years where we've won a damn sight more than we've lost.
Your biggest derby injustice?
How long have you got, Rob? Brian Hamilton, 78. 84, the League Cup final, handball on the line. Stefan Onches on the line. Graham Poll not given the goal when it hit Don Hutchinson's backside and went in when he blew the whistle and then said he didn't know what he blew the whistle for.
That was a great one. That was a bank holiday, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. What about, obviously Clattenburg giving Liverpool a penalty, getting Hibbert sent off because Gerrard told him to, and then when Carragher drags down one of our players in the box, just laughs it off. There's all them. There's even more. There's Gerrard when he two-footed Stephen Naismith in the stomach at Anfield and not even got a yellow card.
The one for me is probably, I think it was the last time you beat us at Anfield, when Gerrard,
99,
Jeffers and Westerveld got sent off in that game. And so Franny Jeffers got into a scrap with Westerveld and he got sent off and we ended up with Steve Staunton in goal.
Is that really your biggest injustice?
It's bad, isn't it?
That player gets sent off for fighting injustice.
Yeah. This has been Both Sides for Ball Street. Don't forget, it's the Merseyside Derby, Liverpool versus Everton.